Good morning, students. So, for today's discussion, we're going to tackle the Unit 5 topics, which is all about humanity as the stewards of the world. So, we have actually three topics to be discussed, and the first one that we're going to talk about is the lesson 1, which is all about the wonder of the universe. Okay, so let's proceed to the first topic. But before that, let us just consider some of these essential questions in this unit. So we have here, where did everything came from? What's out there in the universe? What is my role in the world? How can human beings make the world a better place? So in this unit, students are expected to first one, appreciate the beauty that could be found in nature. Second one, realize that caring for the environment leads to a better life. And lastly, develop a great concern for nature. Okay, so this is lesson 1. Lesson 1, the wonder of the universe. With the great advancement in technology that human beings achieve in the 21st century, research suggests that our scientists could study about only 5% of the universe. With the thick and large volumes of encyclopedias ever published, the knowledge and information doesn't seem to be enough for us to see and understand the big picture. Our minds didn't seem to evolve great enough to understand the totality of our existence. This means that the mystery of the cosmos is the greatest mystery there is. This mystery piques our curiosity and allows us to discover the wonder of the universe. So, yes, even though there is a great advancement that is going on in the fields of science, in the fields of medicine, or any other scientific fields, well, we can say that not all of those mysteries was unraveled or were being totally discovered and explained by the field of science, because even the existence of our universe, science can only explain about 5% of it. Now, how about those 95%? Diba? Well, as we all know, our solar system belongs to the Milky Way galaxy. And Milky Way galaxy is one of the galaxies that are present in our universe. We all have different galaxies, just like Andromeda galaxy, Spiral galaxy, and many more. So imagine we're just a tiny dust in the universe. So, it's very fascinating to discover how wonderful our universe is, and even human cannot dili jud gani matungkad ang kalawmon, ang vastness sa universe. Well, that really entails that we humans have also boundaries. So dili pwede, or I mean, at some point there are just some situations that humans cannot dig deeper anymore. Ika nga nila, hanggang dito lang tayo, or we cannot go deeper there because we don't really know what's surrounding or what's in our universe aside from this galaxy that we belong. Okay, so much for that. Let us start here in this informations or in these concepts. These days, we do not ask that much questions about the world, like why leaves are green or why the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, or what those bright spots in the skies at night are. We already know the answer to these questions. This is because even if we are not curious enough, this knowledge is being taught to us in the school since we were young. So bali naka-program na nga itong mga informations class nga dapat mag-grasp and at a certain grade level. Like for example, sa grade 1, ang sa na mga general knowledge ang kailangan nato ma-acquire. Same with grade 2, same as we progress with our academic life. Hundreds of textbooks in different areas of science that is based on rigorous research and study have given us this information. Yes, tama. Anyone who could claim that the earth is square in shape would appear ridiculous to us because we have been taught ever since that it's not. Diba? Since we were young, nobody taught us that earth is flat or earth is a ball of hot gas. What we know was that the shape of the earth is circle. But as I progress my academic life, I came to know that the earth is not a perfectly circled, is not in perfect circle shape. Instead, it has a shape that is what we called as oblique spheroid. So that means dili siya perfect nga pagka-circle. However, let's think of the time in history when people haven't made any of these discoveries yet. If you weren't taught in school that the sun is a giant ball of gas emitting millions of degrees in temperature, what would you think it is? Yes, bitaw, no? What if sa una class wala tagiingnan na ang sun is a giant ball of gas? Then what would we think about sun in this generation? So usa man atong hunahunaan about sa atong adlaw at this present time. Well, we're thankful enough that in our lower years, we were being taught what the characteristic of our sun is and what are the materials that can be found in this medium-age star, which is the sun. The pre-Socratics or the thinkers who lived before the time of Socrates, I don't know how to read it. Is it Socrates or Socrates? So Socrates are tagged as the first official philosophers. They lived during a time when writers explained the natural events through mythology. So before ni-evolve ang Socratic thinking, the first official philosophers relying on explaining natural events through mythology or mga myths, mytholohiya, just like the sun, the sea, the earth are all gods. So they believe that the sun, the sea, the earth are all gods. Since they know no rational answer about the existence of the world. Wala pa man dyan sila naibala na to kay since wala pa may advancement nga nahitabo. So, ilaha ka na marag tagna-tagna lang good gani then based on mythologies lang gid kasagaran. They were the first one to find these answers in a natural way. Because of this, the ancient period in the history of philosophy is known to be cosmocentric. So, ang early or the ancient period of philosophy belongs to cosmocentric belief or universe-centered. So, the pre-Socratic questions focus on the universe. So, they focus more on the universe or the cosmos. Their objectives were to sorry. Their objectives were to understand the world they lived in, find a single element that would explain the existence of everything, and provide their own theories based on their observations. Thales of Miletus thought that the basic element that composes everything is water. So according pa kay Thales, everything is made up of water. He looked water as the foundation of all life, as everything in nature needs it. Everything, even rocks and minerals, could be put to a liquid form. Well, that's correct. He saw that there is moisture everywhere. The wood that is used to make a house came from a tree which needed water. The vegetables we eat couldn't grow without water. The clothes we wear came from plants that needed water. Perhaps today, Thales would argue that even metals, paints, steels, etc. couldn't be manufactured without water. Thales may have the point, or Thales may have a point in his theory, as even the human body is completely composed of water. It's mostly composed of water. Although this discovery hasn't been made yet during his time. So, ang na-discover pa sa time ni Thales was that katulang, he just focused on that there is a moisture everywhere, plants need water, um, vegetables need water, the trees. So, Thales didn't know that most of the human body, 75% of human body's composition is made up of water. So wala pa siya kabaluhan ng time since that is just a recent discovery lang man during the time of scientific advancement na. An opposing element to water, fire, was thought to be the basic component by Heraclitus. So for Heraclitus, para say fire is a component of everything. For him, nothing can be made without heat. Water is needed for plants to grow, but so is heat of the sun. Figuratively speaking, fire also symbolizes destruction, death, and impermanence. This led Heraclitus to think that everything is in a permanent state of flux. So that means everything is changing. Everything is dynamic. That everything is flowing and changing. So everything in the universe has a beginning and an end. So that's according to Heraclitus. So Thales believes that everything is made of water. Heraclitus believes that everything is made of fire. Now, Leucippus thinkers to conceive of atoms. Yes, these two persons are very important in the field of science because they paved the way on discovering that there is what we call the smallest thing that exists, and that is atom. Atoms, which are invisible to the naked eye, are the basic components of all. According to them, everything can be divided and reduced to these basic invisible elements. But these atoms are indivisible and irreducible by themselves. The view was widely accepted in the scientific community for hundreds of years until the discovery of subatomic particles in the late 19th century, when atoms are no longer viewed as irreducible since they can be further divided and reduced to protons, neutrons, and electrons. Yes. At first, ituo sila na ang atom na jud ang pinakagamay. However, many scientists have proven that there is another components of atom that are smaller than atom itself, and these are the neutrons, protons, and electrons. Aside from that class, if you study or if you advance your study in physics, there are also meron pang mas maliit sa 3 subatomic particles na ito. And that's what we called as quarks. So imagine, from that indivisible and irreducible atom, na pa dyan mas gamay ana nga katong 3 subatomic particles, and then in reality, na pa dyan mas gamay jud anang 3 subatomic particles, and that is quarks. Well, that's on the field of science. We're considering here the distribution of these early philosophers, and we're thankful for them because without them, nobody could explain how everything originates or ano yung pinakamaliit na bagay, ganyan, because human minds are very curious. So, we're thankful kasi nga sila yung nagbigay ng at least mga theories man lang or hypothesis man lang sa mga mysteries or sa mga sinaunang questions noong unang panahon. Anaximander, on the other hand, did not believe in a single element like water or fire that explains the existence of everything in the world. Instead, he believed in an element that produces those elements. He called this operon, which means boundless or limitless. Since this element, according to Anaximander, is limitless, it is the one that provides the 4 basic elements of water, fire, air, and earth, which produces everything in combination of each other. So, balik ka Anaximander class, iyang gi tipo into one ang concepts sa mga early philosophers, and that's the reason why he proposed the term operon, which means boundless or limitless. And this operon provides explanation on the 4 basic elements, which includes the water, the fire, the air, and earth. The pre-Socratics' great contribution is the leap of man's thinking. Yes, tama. From superstition to science. While they were enraged with myths and legends, these philosophers opt to explain the natural law that is based on empirical observations instead of supernatural explanations. So that is the great contribution of the pre-Socratics philosophers, kasi nga they can lay down the gap between superstition and science. They gave way to the discovery of science, because instead of just explaining a natural phenomena or mystery based on and legends. So these pre-Socratic thinkers choose to explain the natural law or the um, natural phenomena on based on empirical observation. So they choose to have observations rather than myths as their explanation on how a certain phenomena exists. So mas kipili nila ang empirical observations compared sa mga supernatural explanations. While the ideas of these philosophers may seem basic in this age, these are great developments considering the period they lived in. It was a period when no one truly possesses an answer to the questions of the universe. We would credit these philosophers as the founders of the knowledge we think to be common sense today. In 1990, the astronomer Carl Sagan requested a photo of the Earth by the Voyager 1 spacecraft at a distance of 3.7 billion miles away. In the photo, the Earth could be seen as a mere pale blue dot, to which Sagan wrote a passage to remind us of how tiny we all are in this world. In the passage, Sagan prompted his readers to think of the wars the humanity has started and endured in order to take control of a part of that little dot. Similarly, we could also proceed into reflection of what human beings are doing to their planet. The atmosphere is damaged, glaciers are melting, polar animals are losing their homes, some parts of the earth are experiencing drought, and there are still wars who are waging against each other. Yes, nice kayo ang message dyan ni Carl Sagan class. Like, considering ingana lang kadako ang earth, tapos humanities tend to be selfish at some times. Like, they choose war against peace. They choose to be greedy instead of giving and instead of being kind to other humans, We sometimes, even myself, I can also reflect that I am also damaging the earth that we live in. Like, we cannot really avoid, but at least we know na dili tama nga atong ginabuhat para sa atong planet Earth and at the same time sa atong isikataw. So, it is our initiative to act what is right and to be, to be grateful that even if that is a very small dot, or it's a little dot whom we called as planet Earth, we are grateful or we are blessed so much that we were given a chance to exist and savor how beautiful life is. And so, it is our responsibility to take care of our environment and of course to act as a steward of all the things that is given to us or na sandaling ipinahiram sa atin ng ating may kapal. So, this is such a great discussion, and I hope you learned something in this topic. So, this is the end for the discussion of the topic 1 in Unit 5. Thank you.